Hi, everyone. Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a case that is, well, it's just as heartbreaking as it is incredibly complex. Let's get right into it. We're looking at the chilling mystery of 21-year-old Arianna Bailey Jones. So on July 5th, Arianna literally vanished from her apartment in Arizona. And this wasn't just your standard missing person case. It left behind this profound mystery that absolutely shook her local community and, honestly, raised some truly terrifying questions about the very systems we trust to protect us. We're going to break down the timeline, the physical evidence, and this massive systemic roadblock that unfolded step by step. Now, I want you to ask yourself this. Would a devoted mother completely abandon her 2-year-old son? Keep that in the very front of your mind, because it really is the crucial hook of this whole investigation. By all accounts, July 5th started off as just a perfectly normal day for Arianna. There was absolutely zero indication of the nightmare that was about to hit her family. People who knew her, they were totally adamant. They said, there's no way she'd walk away without her keys, and more importantly, she would never, ever leave her toddler alone, period. Yet, that is the exact terrifying reality investigators walked right into. When law enforcement actually got inside Arianna's apartment, the red flags weren't just subtle little clues. They were immediate. They were deeply, deeply disturbing. Her car keys sitting right there on the kitchen counter. All her personal belongings were just completely untouched. But the thing that shifted this from a standard missing person report into a full-blown, panic-inducing emergency was the discovery of her 2-year-old son. He was left inside the home entirely alone. When you put all this together, it's like a giant neon sign pointing away from a voluntary disappearance and straight towards something sudden, something sinister, right? I mean, a mother just doesn't step out for a casual walk and leave her toddler completely unattended with all her stuff left behind. And that brings us to this incredibly desperate plea from Arianna's own mother. She told the public point blank, Arianna did not walk away willingly. She was forcefully taken. No loving mother would ever abandon her toddler. Just take a second to think about the absolute emotional weight of that, the unthinkable nature of a mother leaving her child utterly defenseless in an empty apartment. For Arianna's family, these red flags definitively pointed to something way worse than someone just needing a break. To them, the signs pointed directly to a targeted abduction. Now, this is where things get really complicated. This highly localized apartment investigation quickly escalated into this huge macro-level roadblock. Because as the hours slowly, agonizingly turned into days, a massive wave of anger really started to build, both online and right there in the local community. People were looking at these jarring facts, right? An abandoned toddler, belongings left behind. And they were asking a completely valid question. Why on earth wasn't the system doing more to find her? This wasn't just a family searching for a loved one anymore. It was rapidly turning into a situation fraught with massive systemic complication. So to really understand where all this public outrage was coming from, we need to talk about the tools that are supposedly at our disposal during a crisis like this. In Arizona, they have this specialized emergency broadcast system, and it's called the Turquoise Alert. It was actually created in response to a staggering statistical crisis, and it's specifically designed to instantly blast out critical information. The goal is to mobilize the public whenever Indigenous people or women of color go missing. Fundamentally, it's meant to be this rapid, life-saving tool that essentially turns the entire community into eyes and ears on the ground, helping to find vulnerable missing persons before that crucial window of opportunity closes. And this right here brings us to the very core of the immense controversy surrounding this case. The intended purpose of the Turquoise Alert is crystal clear: instantly blast information, mobilize the public. But the reality in Arianna's case, it was totally different. The alert was never activated. Officials actually cited all these rigid criteria and bureaucratic protocols that they claimed weren't met. But this devastating delay, it sparked a fierce nationwide debate. I mean, thousands of people were demanding answers, wanting to know why this highly specific life-saving tool was completely ignored when Arianna so clearly needed it the most. It really raised some very serious, tough questions about the decisions made by those supposedly in charge of protecting the public. If we trace the progression of these events, you can literally see the window of opportunity slamming shut. It starts on day 1, July 5th. Arianna vanishes, leaving her defenseless toddler behind. Fast forward 48 hours, and public anger reaches an absolute boiling point over this inactive Turquoise Alert. And then, well, days later, the frantic search reaches a truly devastating conclusion when authorities make a heartbreaking discovery. Arianna's remains were located. Mapping it out like this, we can so clearly see how those critical, precious hours just slipped away, while the community was basically left begging for a systemic response.
With that tragic discovery, the entire nature of the case shifted. It was no longer a missing persons search. It officially transformed into a formal, highly suspicious death investigation. Law enforcement basically had to pivot entirely, shifting all their resources to work tirelessly in an effort to piece together Arianna's final moments, trying to uncover exactly what led to this awful, devastating outcome.
So that leaves us with a really heavy, deeply unsettling question. Was Arianna the victim of a calculated predator who specifically targeted her on July 5th? Or did a massive systemic failure, the failure to activate that crucial turquoise alert, ultimately cost this young mother her life? It's the kind of question that really hits at the complex intersection of true crime and systemic accountability. So what do you think actually happened to Arianna in those critical missing hours? Drop your theories and your thoughts in the comments below. And hey, if you found this explainer helpful in breaking down the facts and you want to support the channel to ensure these tragic stories are never forgotten, definitely hit that like button and subscribe for more updates. Thanks so much for learning with me today, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.